Okay. I thought that was in yen.
No, I'm 61. I'll be 62 in March 9th.
And then here's another caller or texter who's asking, who was this Beatle detained in Japan sometime in the late 80s? And it was the answer, of course, Paul McCartney was detained for marijuana. He had cannabis stashed in his bag.
Yeah, 12 days.
You heard about that, huh?
Oh yeah. I was also detained for marijuana here, but it was a trumped-up charge. This was when I came in here in the year 2000. Yeah, believe it or not. They held me for 18 days.
Wow, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Bobby, another great performer, of course, Michael Jackson, eh?
Right, yeah.
Also, Michael Jackson is... he's like Jackie Wilson also somehow, no? Some similarities.
Yes. I read that he toured with Jackie Wilson when Jackson was a boy. He toured with Jackie Wilson.
Yeah, that's great, no? And of course, you love a lot of songs of Jackie Wilson, no? Like Ask, Chain Gang, Shake a Hand, no?
Yeah. I love that guy. They say he was murdered by the Jews. Yeah.
Okay. Well, of course, Michael Jackson is also having some problems, no?
Yeah. I'm not going to justify or be even his lifestyle. I'm not going to criticize it either because I really don't know that much about it, But irregardless of his proclivities, as far as sex goes, the fact is this is a conspiracy, in my opinion, by the Jews because, for two reasons, or several reasons. One reason is, if you remember one of his songs, he said in one of his songs, "Don't Jew me."
No, I don't remember, Bobby.
Yeah, Benji, you remember that?
No, Bob, no.
Yeah, in one of his songs, he said, "Don't Jew me," and I remember that very well. And there was quite a big controversy. I think this was back maybe in the late 80s, sometime around then, or maybe earlier. It was in the 80s, I think. And the press was very, the Jew press was, of course, very angry about that. And that's okay, but they have not forgotten that. And also, regarding the Beatles, he owns the Beatles songs. You know that? He owns all of their songs. He bought them for like $200 million a long time ago.
Really? You mean Michael Jackson owns some of Beatles songs?
He owns their whole collection, yeah.
Yes, somebody said here that he owns practically the whole collection.
Yes, Eugene, he bought the rights to all the songs of the Beatles.
Right. So the point is, I believe, you remember Mike Tyson, right? The boxer. They practically wiped him out, even though he made, hundreds of millions as a boxer, right? Now,
right.
He went into bankruptcy and so on. Now, I think they want to do the same thing to Michael Jackson he's already put his
Neverland
ranch up for sale, right? And I think they want to get his Beatles song book, album, his rights. And I think that's what this is all about. I think it's because also he's in a lot of debt himself. Besides, he owes banks a lot of money. He has a very lavish lifestyle, So they're out to get him. I think he's he's a very kind person, a very nice person. Now he's emotionally disturbed. There's no question about that.
Just hold it, Bobby. We're going to go into a break for a while, huh? Just hang on. We got King.
Okay, we're here at the Rizal.
Reporting live from Doha, Qatar.
Action continues here at the Canana Astros.
From
the boxing competitions of the Vietnam Sea Games.
We got drama. This morning, an attempt on the life of Patapon President.
The chairman, however, denied all the allegations.
PA-66 Philippines, labanan dalawa. Minsan, Alexander Gonzalez at the people.
And the thrower is Toyota winning over Grispa. Interviews and analysis on topics surrounding the sporting world.
Agi, what went wrong with Talk and Text game against Coca-Cola?
We just came out of a tough series.
There is really a pressing need to improve the training and support for our athletes bound for international competition.
DZSR Sports Radio 918. We live to give you sports.
27 minutes after 7 o'clock in the evening, you're listening to Mid-Evening with the Beatles. In a while, we'll be continuing, of course, with our super session, our super feature. Hang on, Beatle fans, as we are interviewing Mr. Bobby Fischer live and direct from Japan, okay? Hey, Bob, are you there?
Hi, Benji. So what I was saying about Michael Jackson, he's a very nice person, a very kind person, but he's obviously emotionally and mentally, ill, And when he went to see these plastic surgeons about, changing his face and his skin and everything, instead of giving him counseling and telling him, to see a good psychologist and improving his image as a Negro, they have taken advantage of him unmercifully, just destroyed his face just for money and for sadistic pleasure. That's my honest opinion. So people are blaming Michael Jackson for what he has done to himself. Of course, you could put the blame on him, but I think the real blame goes on the surgeons, because this should never be allowed. You do not. If somebody comes up to me and says, "Bobby, push me out the window," I won't do it. I'll talk to him and tell him, "Don't do that. To tell me your problem. Can I help you?" And so when Michael Jackson went to these surgeons, that's what they should have done. Now, there was a stinking American movie, I think, with George Clooney, I think about the Gulf War I, where they talk about that, and the soldier puts the blame on Michael Jackson for all this surgery. But I think that it's the whole goddamn American system that has done this to him. He's a really good person in a lot of ways, For example, one of his songs called "Beat It." I think that was an excellent song. I think it goes something like, "It doesn't really matter who's wrong or right, just beat it, beat it." In other words, if you get into an argument with the police or another gang member or just somebody on a bus or a street, it doesn't really matter who's right or wrong. Just get the hell out of there. Why kill somebody or be killed,
Okay. Cheryl texted us. Cheryl will get back to the trivia's later on the Beatles. Just hang on, lady. And here's one. Here's a text message here from 2392. It says here, can you describe how it is to be detained out there, Bob, or your daily routine?
From 2392, what's that?
That's a cell number here. We're getting text messages actually on our computer, and it says here to ask you to describe how it is to be inside or being detained out there.
2392, only 5 numbers?
No, I'm not supposed to reveal the rest because I'm just revealing the last 4 digits.
Okay. And what does she want to know? It's terrible to be here. It's terrible, really terrible. I start to understand how animals feel, when they're caged. They just get crazier and crazier,
Well, yeah. That's why I think it's important for you to get out of there, Bobby. Hopefully, you can be a citizen of the Philippines the soonest.
That would be good. But, Eugene, that's what they want. They want this. The U.S. would very much like to see me die here in Japan. And then they could say, blame it on the Japs, really. I mean, that's the kind of cheek the U.S. has, even though they're obviously behind this. You understand? They would very much like me to die here in Japan, but if they can't do that, then of course they'd like to take me back to the U.S. and torture and murder me there. You know?
Okay, Bobby. We have been talking a lot about you. How about talking also about this Kasparov? Because lately, I have seen in the news that he's also quite hot on Putin, the president of Russia. He is just like you, very quite independent-minded somehow.
Oh, well, all that stuff is written for him, you know. But anyway, if he's down on Putin now, as he says he is, then, I mean, to me, that's like an endorsement, no? Coming from him.
What do you mean endorsement?
Coming from Kasparov, if he attacks Putin, that's like an endorsement of Putin, you know, because Kasparov is a bad guy, you know, such a crook, such a liar, you know.
Ah, I see. But I think he's really attacking the President Putin, huh?
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's what you call a negative approach, man.
Huh?
It may be, perhaps you could call that a negative approach.
Yeah, he's down on Putin, I think, because of putting Khodorkovsky in prison over there, which, by the way, I approve of, because all of these Jewish robber barons who got all these billions after the end of communism, they're just crooks, you know. So.
Okay, Bobby, we're down to our last 10 minutes on this interview. Any more you'd like to add, Eugene?
Well, because lately Bobby also read a book which is quite impressed about Chuck Norris, no, Bobby? Chuck Norris, you like Chuck Norris, no?
Yes. I always liked him as a movie star and a karate action star. And I always, somehow, I felt he was different from the rest, even though I didn't know anything about his life story, you know what I mean? But now I bought this book. Actually, a friend of mine sent it to me, because I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone, and I was talking about, I thought Chuck Norris had a lot of character, you know, compared to, other Hollywood people like Schwarzenegger, etc. So he sent me this book by Chuck Norris, The Secret of Inner Strength, My Story. And I was really amazed, you know. I mean, because when you see Chuck Norris in the movies, he gives this feeling of strength, power, you know. But I had absolutely no idea that he was, up until the age of 18, he was not into sports at all. He grew up basically with his mother. His father was an alcoholic and never was around. So Chuck Norris was not good in sports. He was a very shy, introverted person. And then I think he got married real young, and then he went to Korea in the armed forces as a U.S. serviceman, and that's where he started to learn
martial arts.
Yeah, Korean. And if you look at the early pictures of him, he's a scrawny guy. He's got, scrawny arms. And he's an amazing person. I was reading one thing he says. Before he became a movie star, he was a martial arts instructor and a champion in martial arts, you know. And what he says, I think something that really struck me, he said he likes, when somebody comes to be a student of his, he likes them to be weak and badly coordinated. Rather than, be strong and well-coordinated and fast. He said, the people who are badly coordinated and unathletic, he said, they're better students. They try harder. They stick with it more. Whereas these people who have the coordination and the speed, they drop out, They don't stick to it usually.
But you, Bobby, you have the talent, but also you are hardworking.
Yeah, that's true. But it's really an amazing book. He's got a couple of other books I want to read too, you know what it's good about? He has all these principles that he teaches throughout the book, and in the back of the book he says things like failure is only a matter of interpretation. The only time you really fail is when you don't learn from the experience. Say to yourself, I'll never lose that way again. It's got a lot of really good things in here. And the reason this book is so instructive is because there are so many of these Think Positively books, right? Help you, but they're not written by famous martial arts people or action people. They're written more by psychologists, and you wonder if these people are really successful themselves, right? But his life, he made himself from nothing. He was dirt poor family. I think he's a part American Indian, and not physical. Came from a broken family, not a solid family life with a drunken father, and he did it all by himself. It's really very inspiring. My only complaint is that he's pro-American, but having said that, this book was written in 1987. See, 1989, 88, 89. The point is, many years have passed since then. Hopefully, he has, the recent events, he has evolved and seen the true wicked nature of the United States. But I think he's really an amazing person because he's really got a lot of love. And also the book, he doesn't try to brush out all of the things that some people would criticize. Like he had a time where he got tired of his wife and he wanted to go out dating and so many things like that. He's a human being. He doesn't pretend to be perfect at all. He tells so many mistakes he's made.
Well, a lot of Filipinos really love the guy. He's been here several times doing a movie. Anyway, Bob, do you still find time to play chess in your cell?
Yeah. One other thing about Chuck Norris, or another thing I criticize him rather, I'm happy about. I read in his book he made a movie in the banded state of Israel. Terrible thing. Of course, I played chess once myself in Israel too, before I understood all these things. So I'm not condemning him, but he shouldn't have done it. Nobody should go to Israel to play chess or to do movies or anything. That country has no right to exist. It's a bandit state. All the Jews should get the hell out of this so-called Israel. All this is Arab land. It should all be given back to the Palestinians. Not just the occupied territories, not just the Gaza Strip. The Jews have to give back Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, Haifa, the whole country.
Che, Bobby. Okay, can you, since Jackie Wilson, you remember before we are leaving soon, so with Jackie Wilson, do you know some songs like I remember when we were talking, Ask, how is this Ask?
Ask, oh yeah, I don't remember all the, Eugene, my brain is like half functioning in here,
Okay, I know, because you have some problems there, very difficult. Anyway, and I don't know, Bobby. Us, and then I remember Chain Gang also, and I think that was, he had this beautiful one, the Shake a Hand, no, Bobby?
Yeah. But this Ask is it's not a very well-known song of Jackie Wilson. It's like a kind of a spiritual, something like Ask, and he will hear you. Ask. He's always near you. If you pray to him each day, he'll always stay in your heart. Something like that. Very beautiful lyrics,
And I think Jackie Wilson was the idol, or the one somehow Michael Jackson imitated, no? Even their side face somehow, some similarities before Michael Jackson had this operation, no?
Not his operation. Jackson has had, I think, countless operations, no?
Right. So, I think.
You know, Bob, before we wrap up here in the Philippines, we just want to hear, we just want to let you know that we're hoping only for the best for you. You still have a lot of fans here, chess enthusiasts and all. And, all these things that are happening, these trials and tribulations happening to you right now, they could be a real trials and tribulations